Applying to scholarships can vary greatly, application to application. Why? Because every single application can have different requirements. So in today's video, I want to talk about specific requirements that show up often in scholarship applications so that you can be more prepared and you can help your student win that coveted debt-free money. Now, if your student is in high school or even in college, they can continue applying. It's never too early, it's never too late to start. So as far as timing, this video can help your student no matter what school year they're in. Now, make sure you hit subscribe because every week I release a new strategy to help your student work towards a debt-free education. Hey there, my name is Jocelyn Pearson, founder of the Scholarship System, where we redefine paying for college to help families build strong financial futures rather than ones buried in debt. And one of our main strategies against student loan debt are scholarships. This is our bread and butter. In fact, I secured 6 figures, and to date, we just got our new tally. Our families have secured well over $12 million in scholarships. So we've seen a lot of different requirements. We've also picked apart really how to submit the best materials for each requirement. That's what our course, the Scholarship System, is all about. It's how do we submit the best pieces for each of the requirements. So that said, if you're curious how to increase the chances of winning scholarships, dissecting the requirements is a huge step in the right direction. Let's begin. So requirements depend a lot based on the award that your student is applying for. So most colleges, for example, they will choose winners based on merit. So this is a lot of times on academic or athletic performance or leadership skills. And so the requirements will be surrounding those kind of things. It can also be based on financial needs. The requirements might be based off of that. So knowing the type of money we're applying for can help us figure out, okay, what will the requirements be? Now, I have an entire video on different types of scholarships. We will link to that in the description, along with every other resource that I'm going to mention in today's video. You should also see it somewhere here on the screen if you want to open that up, but stick with me, finish out this video first. Now, I also have a free training where I cover how to find these scholarships. So if you're like, I don't even know where to build a list, then you want to check that out as well. It's a 1-hour webinar. We'll link to that in the description as well. It's the 6 steps to securing scholarships webinar. Now, this will also vary on if it's a legitimate scholarship or not. This is why in that webinar that I just mentioned, that free training, I break down what a legitimate scholarship versus a scam looks like because the requirements actually tip us off greatly. So, of course, most scholarships will ask basic information. We're talking about name, email, maybe their grade, GPA. One of the things, however, that we do not want to provide is our social security number. If it is asking that, then that should raise a red flag. Now, the one exception to this is if a student wins a scholarship and they need the student's identification number for the university so that they can send the money. Sometimes universities use socials. It's crazy. Most of the time, though, these days, students have a specific student ID. Now, a second requirement that your student might come across a lot is maybe their major or career path. So maybe it is a nursing-based scholarship, for example, where they have to be majoring in nursing. Now, you might be thinking, oh gosh, do we want to do those? What if we change majors? Most of the time, they don't make a student pay back the money. They understand a lot of students change their major, but in order to apply, they do need to initially be in that major. A third requirement that pretty much always shows up on a legitimate scholarship application are essays. So essays, this is one of the easiest ways for a committee to judge whether or not they want to give the money to the student. It gives them an opportunity to sell themselves to the committee. Now, while essays are pretty much requested across the board, the prompts and the topics can vary greatly. Some might be pretty general ones that we can often pull from admissions or reuse for admissions if we are applying earlier than senior year, like what do you want to be and why, or where do you see yourself in 5 years? Some of them, however, might be specific to the program. For example, through the scholarship system, we give out thousands of dollars every year, and we ask students, why is it important to you to be debt-free? Why do we ask that? It's because our organization is so passionate about getting students through college debt-free. And so we want to see that a student is as well. Another requirement that often shows up are high school transcripts. Now, the things we want to pay attention to here is, are they requesting a copy or are they requesting an official copy? An official copy cannot be opened. It should be sealed. You order it from the school and you tell them where to send it, and they will send it on your student's behalf. Or if your student's including it in their application, they might get a sealed envelope and they can put it in a folder along with everything else. But they also might just ask for an export and they can upload the PDF of it. So this really is something where the application can vary on how and what kind of formality they want to receive these transcripts. Another one might be proof of financial need. So this is more so those scholarships or the grants that are need-based. So one of the most important factors in this requirement is submitting FAFSA. We have an entire FAFSA playlist and we talk about it a lot. Every family should submit FAFSA because a lot of scholarships will ask this information, but also most universities will not even consider students for their funding unless you've submitted FAFSA. Now, the last category of requirements that I want to cover are things that students have to submit in order to show they meet certain criteria. For example, GPA, it might be transcripts, or major, they might have to submit a proof of their major, but it can also be things like I had to submit my lease to prove that I had expenses beyond just my college bill, or maybe it's something showing the amount of credit hours that a student is enrolled in. Maybe they require them to be in at least 12 or 15 hours at the university, so full time. If something is based on a disability, maybe they have to submit some kind of medical paperwork to show that they actually have that disability. So this is where it can really vary depending on the scholarship. Now, comment below, what are some of the most unique requirements you've seen? I would love to hear those in the comments. We have, like I said, in our course, we have training videos on tons of different criteria, including scholarship interview days, video essays, of course, regular essays, but there's so many different things that can fall into requirements. So I'd love to see what you guys have seen in applications, and maybe we can create some tips and videos on those to help you all as well. So that said, there are scholarships out there for pretty much every student, even if they don't have the perfect GPA or they're not the superstar athlete or they're not low income. It's just a matter of finding ones that fit to them, which is what I cover in that free training. So make sure you check that out, the link in the description. But my point is that while scholarships can be available to every student, that also means that the requirements can vary greatly because, like I said, a lot of times those requirements go along with the reason that they're giving the money. Ultimately, by starting this search earlier rather than later, that is going to give you the most time to prepare these requirements, and your student, they can create quality materials rather than just rushing to get them submitted. So always the earlier the better, but note that it's also never too late. All right, so that said, those are the requirements. I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure you hit subscribe because I've got tons of tips coming to you every single week. I'll see you in the next video.